What up, world, and welcome to another edition of the Living the Dream podcast. Man, it's your favorite day of the week. It's hump day, and it's time to get that mid-week motivation. It's your motivators, your inspirators, Coach Spaulding and Tay.epps.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We in the building. I'm ready to get it in. I hope all y'all ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, man, we always, and want to do it again, thank all the listeners for all the love and the support on the podcast. Thank you, guys. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for listening.
Oh, yes. And everybody, hey, please, still, I know they opening the city up. Wear your mask. Stay safe. And once again, thank you for listening. Coach, let's give it to him.
Let's do it. Yeah, definitely. You guys stay safe out there. Look, we want to jump right into this thing today. We want to help you become more disciplined. All right. Being disciplined is more than just taking control of your habits and choices. It's also about being consistent. It's about keeping your commitment to your commitment. The more consistent you are, the more disciplined you can become. This goes back to what we said before when we're consistent about. You know, oftentimes we are not disciplined because we consistently go back to the easy way of doing things, or we're consistently get distracted from our commitment, like parties and video games, girls, or whatever it is that distracts you. But it distracts you from your commitment. This is not how you build discipline. So we want to give you 3 principles on how to make that happen. But Tay, go ahead and tell them why you think consistency is important.
Consistency is very important when it comes to discipline, because waking up early, going to the gym when you don't want to, reading that book, reading that chapter when you don't want to, studying instead of going to the club, those are all disciplinary actions that you're taking. But if you're not consistent with them, kind of like what Coach said, and you go back to the partying and doing the drugs or whatever it is that you know is not discipline, you're just going to keep consistently doing the undisciplined things. So you got to stay consistent when you take disciplined actions. You really do. Because if you do disciplined actions and you're not consistent, it's just a waste of time, straight up.
Straight up. With that being said, principle number 1, you have to know your weaknesses. You are who you are. And the sooner you can come to terms with that, the sooner you can start to change that. Like, be honest with yourself. Are you disorganized? Are you a procrastinator? Do you lack focus? Like, all of your weaknesses have a huge impact on how disciplined you can be. But you have to be able to acknowledge them. And a lot of times, it's not what you know about yourself, but more about you being in denial. Think about that for a minute. You think you could just instantly stop being a procrastinator? That's going to take some time, and that's going to take some discipline. You think you could just easily stop being disorganized? That is going to take some discipline. Just as much as you know what your strengths are, you need to know what your weaknesses are as well, because without understanding what your weaknesses are, you won't be able to improve on discipline.
Oh, yes, sir. And I'm going to tell you, look, you really want to know your weaknesses because you want to have a guide or some type of itinerary on what to work on. You want to know exactly what you need to improve on. When it comes to your strength, you arrogant about that. You cocky. You know you good at that, so you stay on it. But it takes some real deal discipline to consistently work on your weaknesses. Those are the things you don't want to do. Like I mentioned before, you might not want to get up early, but you're going to have to get up early for no reason. Practice getting up early for no reason and see if you can do that. Do that consistently. That's your weakness. Like you a ball player. You're not good at free throws. Don't run away from it. They're going to foul you. Work on them free throws. You know you got to work on them free throws all day and all night.
That brings us to principle number 2. This is especially important for you guys who have big dreams and big goals. Like, you have to remove temptation.
What do you mean by that?
Listen, think about this. When you were a kid, did your parents let you watch TV and do your homework at the same time?
Nah.
Maybe somebody did. I don't know, but what I do know is that you probably was more distracted, less focused, and it took you way longer to get the important stuff done. Let me throw this at them real quick. If you marry and you know you lack self-control, would it be wise for you to go to a singles party?
Oh.
Think about
Oh,
that for a
hey,
minute.
you setting yourself up for failure right there.
Think about that for a minute. Watch it. If you're trying to lose weight, would it make sense to only buy the food you love? Think about that, man. Think about that for a minute. If the temptation goes against what you're trying to accomplish, stay away from it. And I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just trying to get you to understand that in order for you to develop discipline, you have to remove the temptation.
Yeah, because if you don't remove the temptation, you're going to be complacent. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be stuck in the same place, and you will never, ever get anything accomplished. And Coach gave some great examples right there. I mean, if you a married man, or even in a faithful relationship, you call it. Hey, it's not the best thing to always be going out with the single dudes, because you know what they about. You're going to be tempted. So it makes sense. Remove the temptations. And when it comes to your goals and your dreams and your aspirations, I go back to ball player. You need the stamina. You need that energy. It might not be best to hang out with a group of people who smoke. It might not be best to do that.
Because it goes against what you're trying to accomplish.
If it's not serving you, or if it's not in line with what you're doing, then you need to get out the line.
You got to figure out what's in your lane and what is conducive to your lane. Like smoking ain't conducive to ball playing. Drinking ain't conducive to ball playing. That ain't where you need to be focused at.
Yeah.
I understand that you want to hang and kick it with the fellas. It goes against what you're trying to do tomorrow.
Yeah, you said you're trying to be great. You said you're trying to fill up the stat sheet. You said you're trying to beat the team by 3 touchdowns, this and that. Bro, how much energy you really think you're going to have? Come on, dog.
Remove the temptations, which brings us to principle number 3, man. You got to take small actions. Small actions. Like, one of the most important things that you can do to get better at self-discipline is to take small actions. It's the little things. Master the little things. If you're trying to lose weight, you ain't going out running 5 miles day one. You might start off with a mile or a half a mile. Like, you're just not going to go day one, I'm running 5 miles. You're going to quit. It won't be a consistent thing because it's going to be too much for you. Take small action. You got a project that needs to get done. You might want to spend 30 minutes at a time on it because you might not be disciplined enough to go all in and dedicate hours to it. It goes back to being consistent. You won't be able to do it consistently because it's too much for you. You'll get overwhelmed. So I'm asking you to take small steps. The more consistent you are, the more you can add, the more you become more disciplined. Like, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Oh, yeah.
And you becoming self-disciplined will take some time.
And I'm going to tell you, with this principle number 3 right here, taking small action, you have to include principle number 1, knowing your weakness. When you know your weakness, you know you can take a small action on that weakness. And a lot of people, they know their weaknesses, and when they go to work on it, they don't take a small action. They looking to take this gigantic action, and they know they can't fulfill it. And then they get discouraged, and then they stop. And then what they do? They go right back to just sticking with their strengths. They just stick with their strength. And then when it comes that time in the game or that time in life where you're being tested and your weakness that you're not good at because you chose not to stay consistent on it, taking a small action, now that got to come into play. And now you want to tuck tail and hide when that ain't the way. That ain't the way. So you want to take small actions. When you take small actions, you put them all together, they create a big action, man. Know your weaknesses. Principle number 1. Remove temptation. Principle number 2. And I think the most important one is principle number 3. Take small action and stay consistent with it.
Hey, it's your motivators, your inspirators, Coach Spaulding and Tay.epps, saying have a great rest of the week and make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Yes, sir. Stay blessed, everybody.